Today we're here with the Houston Community College news and information, things you need to know while we're all working remotely. And of course, it's Wednesday, April the 1st. We'll let that speak for itself. But we've got a full show for you today. We're joined by our co-host, Brittany Pacheco. Good morning to you, Brittany.
Good morning, Todd. And can't believe we're already in April, but we're going to take it day by day.
We're moving along. We're also joined, returning on his Wednesday segment, HCC Police Chief Greg Cunningham. Thanks for being here, Chief.
Good morning, guys. It's really good to see you guys. Little social touching is good.
It is. Yeah, good to have you here and see you face to face. It's also great to see Dr. Madeline Burillo-Hopkins, the president of Houston Community College Southwest. Dr. Burillo, boy, it's good to see you out there. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's great to be able to be here with you and Brittany and Chief, talking to you this morning and all the people who are watching.
I know you have been extremely busy over the past few weeks, as many of us are, but really the administration and you guys have been working behind the scenes all the time. We're now online with our classes. We're delivering education online, getting our students their education they're wanting and needing. How large of an undertaking was it to launch this online and getting your faculty and staff up to speed over at Southwest College?
You know, it's been a true transformative process for everyone at work and for faculty and students as well. We've had to transform over a little bit over 5,600 sections to go from, now some of those sections were already hybrid, so they had a presence online. But nevertheless, it was still a huge undertaking for faculty and for the entire community at HCC. But I'm very proud of the team. I'm very proud of the faculty, and I'm mostly impressed with the students. I've been talking to faculty and some of the feedback that I'm hearing, and overall, it's very positive. Given the circumstances that we're all living in, I'm very hopeful that this situation will bring us all together, as it's been proven that people are realizing the one thing that keeps us together is our humanity, right?
Absolutely, and the one, we get to have that face-to-face contact, as Chief mentioned just a few moments ago. That's a good thing to have, but there's nothing like the human interaction that you get beyond the computer screen. You mentioned 5,600 sections. That's huge that you guys had to get online. Yeah. What's been the biggest challenge during this crisis outside of that?
Well, the biggest challenge was the fact that the unknown, right? The unknown, we don't know what we don't know. And we had to make plans in a time when a lot of things were uncertain. So the biggest challenge, I would say, for us was trying to figure out who had technology accessible at their homes and how to make it available to them in an environment where we have to keep social distancing and keep safety at the forefront for everyone. So I will say that probably was the biggest challenge. However, I would say our IT department has done a phenomenal job. I've been so impressed with everyone in that team. And so I will say that that's probably, the fact that we can be close to each other probably has been the biggest challenge in bringing the access to that equipment and that technology to people in a safe manner.
You talk about technology, but you've got a great team out there at the Southwest College yourself, Dr. Sean Akwishi and Samir Saber, Roland Fields, all of these guys that are available out there to assist you in that technology. I imagine their assistance has been invaluable for you.
Oh, it's been invaluable to the district. It's been invaluable for each other, for faculty and staff. And, what's interesting is to see with everybody and all the businesses moving to work remotely in terms of high demand and high skills and demand in the Houston and really worldwide. When everybody moves online, the people who have those skill sets are first responders. In order for us to stay continuing our work day to day, so there's an increased demand for web developers, an increased demand for networking folks, an increased demand for coders. And so the digital and information technology programs right now for all of our students that we have over 4,000 students in those programs. We anticipate we're going to have a lot more people transitioning into those careers, particularly now that people unfortunately have been laid off. But this is an opportunity when they're at home to be able to take online classes and go into a field that it's in great demand and will continue to be in great demand. We have a new artificial intelligence program that we were going to launch in fall, and if anybody who's interested in starting that in the summer while they're at home confined, they could take 2 classes online this summer and get started on that degree plan.
You know, you mentioned about these jobs evolving and the important jobs. I think it was Sean Atnishi who posted on his Facebook page a few days ago. He said, look for all those people who work in the essential jobs right now, kids. These are the jobs you want to go into in the future.
Yeah.
And that kind of sounds like the programs you guys have out there.
Yeah, and let me tell you another thing. I'm very proud of our manufacturing program in many ways, but particularly because the way that we've been developing our program was to stay ahead of the curve, to make sure that we were at the forefront. We were one of the few programs in the country that was offering additive manufacturing technology, and we have a state-of-the-art facility. Right now, we have 2 staff members who are producing face masks for first responders at the front lines. And we're able to do that because of the skill sets and the program and the equipment that we have available at HCC. And so not only are we doing that at the Stafford campus, but our Northwest College, our West Houston Institute Makerspace, we have a whole team partnering with MD Anderson, with Memorial Hermann Hospital and TXRX. We're now reaching out to other community colleges around the area so that this is a community response. And that's what community colleges have always done great. The reason we still have the name community in our name is because that's what we do. We are always, our mission is to be responsive to community needs. And in this right now, it shows how we're coming together to sew masks. Our fashion and design program are going to be sewing masks. Our manufacturing program will be, is already producing masks for first responders and healthcare workers. And our digital and information technology folks are actually supporting the backbone of all this work online, remotely and online courses. So I'm very proud of the response of HCC, but I'm also concerned for our students who are out there in need. And I just want them to know that we've been working very hard to make sure that they have access to resources to need them in this time. And all they need to do is to please reach out to our staff. Everybody is online. Yesterday, we made over 1,000 calls to students. We received about 60 calls incoming, but we made about 1,000 calls outgoing. We want to hear from you. We want to know what's happening. We want to know what you need. I miss being able to walk around the campuses right now, because that's where I get my energy and be able to hear what's going on the campuses. But I want our students that are watching to know that we care for you. We want to know what's going on in your family. We know these are difficult situations. We're here with you, and we want to support you. Please reach out, fill out one of the forms. We can get you the technology. We can get you other needs that you have. We want you to be well, and we want your family to be well, and we're here for you. You're part of our family.
You know, you miss those campuses as much as we do. We certainly miss being in buildings and things we kind of, you know, you don't want to say you took it for granted, but when you're put in a position like this, I guess we all look at life on the little things that we took for granted because we're missing those things right now.
You know, we're missing those things, and the world after COVID will be different. My hope and my heart is that one of the things that will be different is how we treat each other. I think we have become much more aware of the connection that exists between people, that we're all the same, whether you're in Taiwan, whether you're in Vietnam, whether you're in Colombia, whether you're in Puerto Rico, whether you're in USA, in Washington or California, it's our humanity that keeps us together and that makes us one. And I hope that that's the one thing that we come out of this crisis as people and the whole world, that connection and the importance of telling each other how much we care for each other and helping each other. That's where I hope that that's the silver lining of this whole situation.
Dr. Madeline Burillo-Hopkins, president of HCC Southwest College. Great way to end your appearance. I really appreciate you being here on the show, and I'm glad you broke down everything with how it's happening with reaching out and producing the PPE out there, because we talked about that story last week. So I'm glad you were able to shed some light in our operations. That is something we're all very proud of. For the teams that are working on those. Thank you for being here today, and we look forward to having you in the future again.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are back now with Chief Greg Cunningham. Chief, welcome again to the show. It's good to have you back on the Wednesday shows weekly with your appearance.
Well, I appreciate you guys bringing me here. Before Dr. Burillo runs away, we're in line for a little bit of that PPE that she's producing. So I hope that operation goes well.
Thank you, Chief.
Well, I'm sure we can hook you up, Chief. We'll see if our guys can make sure you guys are happy. You know, and you're bringing up a good point with. I wanted to get to you. Obviously, you guys are in need of PPE, and that's personal protective equipment. You guys are in need of those, and there's a shortage out there. How are you guys handling that right now?
Well, so we were really lucky. We got in front of it early on, and we ended up with the protective overalls and those kind of things. So we've got an adequate supply of that. Gloves seem to be readily available, and we've been able to resupply there. The N95 masks are the tall pole in the tent, and it is for everybody, across the nation. What we have done, and I need to thank the Coleman College, they had a bunch of surgical masks down there, which aren't the N95s, but are usable masks. And they gave us all of their supply. And what we've done is we've told our officers, we've made them available to them, and we've built little PPE packets, if you will. And if they encounter someone who's showing symptoms or has some issues, but we still have to interact with them and deal with them, what we're doing is taking those surgical masks and deploying them to the sick person to try to reduce the risk of contamination. And that seems to be working pretty well so far, but N95s are the holy grail. And we've got a line on some that may be those expired ones, but are still okay to use. So we're chasing after those today, and the hunt continues on a daily basis. So if anybody has a line on that, please call.
Absolutely. And you've had to adjust your police department operations. And how have you done that because of COVID-19?
So the men and women that work for me they're spectacular, and I can't thank them enough. We're still coming to work and patrolling our campuses, not only from a security perspective, but also to make sure that those people that may not have gotten the message or are looking for resources have somebody that they can talk to. And we've been referring a lot of folks over to our helplines. Dr. Burillo said it really well, but I'll repeat it if you don't mind. If you're sitting at home and you want to manage your college education, we have a ton of people that are really, really helpful, that are waiting to answer the phone and to figure out what your needs are and to help solve those problems. Like everything else, right, there may be a queue line because we have peaks and valleys of those phone calls coming in as well. Please be patient and hang in there with them. I am not a technology guy, and these guys have come together and helped me get myself set up. My whole department is now running in a totally new environment that we really weren't used to, right? We're face-to-face kind of organization, and getting things online was painful. But our folks are there to help. And as they helped us, they're there to help you. So please don't sit at home wishing you could solve this problem, because we've got a bunch of really smart people that can help you get through that.
Chief, classes are now online, running well. It seems to be doing well across the district, but the campuses remain closed. And I can't tell you, there doesn't come a day where somebody's asking me, hey, do you know if I can get back in the building to get this? Or do you know if I can get back in the building to retrieve that? It literally happens every day. Are you getting those requests? And I guess we can't even let them back on to do that, correct?
Yeah, so right now we're really trying to keep our campuses people free as much as we possibly can. So, some of our campuses are beautiful and actually set up places for folks to sit and kind of enjoy life under normal circumstances. We're asking folks not to do that. The libraries are closed, the computer labs are closed. There really is no reason to go to campus. And understand why we're asking that. When you come to campus, there's support services that need to be there. The rubbish needs to get emptied. There's things that just being in that environment, inherently a burden that it puts on the campus management. And because we don't have all of the normal services we do, we're asking people to stay away. Call those numbers that we have been talking about and try to get some support to get online. Because we really just don't have the infrastructure in place now to be hosting people.
Chief, I'm going to ask you your thoughts on a couple of subjects now. They're a little bit outside of HCC related, but yesterday was a big day in the city of Houston, Harris County. The police chief for Houston came out saying that he'd seen a rise in burglaries and some crimes, and at the same time, the Harris County judge and the mayor of Houston, specifically the judge, Lena Hidalgo, announced the release of 1,000 inmates from the Harris County jail system. As a police officer, I mean, this obviously is a concerning thing. What are your thoughts towards that?
Well, so it wasn't just Chief Acevedo that spoke out on that. Actually, there's an organization that represents all of the police chiefs across the area. And we all offered our input, right? So there's a judge sitting there that's got to make a tough decision. And I don't envy the position that they're in, because it's hard no matter what you do. The issue really becomes releasing prisoners has an impact on our community. And that impact, generally speaking, isn't always the best impact. The police chiefs are asking that we be very, very cautious in making that decision. Making sure that we're not allowing people that are aggressive, people that have been involved in domestic violence issues, people that have been convicted for burglary issues. I understand the humanitarian need to try to reduce the populations and to try to keep people from getting sick, but we have to balance that against the general health and welfare of the communities. Well, we talked last week that residential burglaries are down because everybody is home. Business burglaries are actually on their way up because everybody knows those businesses aren't there. We really need to be prudent with how we decide to manage the inmate population, because again, they're human beings and they have rights. But we really need to put that in context of our entire community and the needs that our entire community have. I do not envy the position the judges are in. All I ask, and I think any of the chiefs of police are asking, is for them to be very, very cautious about the decisions they make and those people that are going to return to our community when they've already proven that they might take advantage of it given the opportunity.
Chief, you brought up a good point, and you certainly don't envy the decisions they had to make. And it goes back to decisions that were made a few weeks ago on shutting down the county and the city and literally closing a lot of businesses. That had to be a difficult decision, and I don't envy the decision that they made yesterday as well. I also get asked on a daily basis, Chief, by the staff, do I know when we may wind up going back to work or when things may open up? And the answer is, of course, no. But I did pose this question to the staff yesterday, and I said, think about when we do go back to work. And maybe as a safety expert, you can answer to this. I don't think we can literally tell everybody, okay, you can go outside your house, go shopping, go back to work. The world's opened up again. Do you see maybe when this does happen that it'll have to be strategically done, like maybe essential workers first, this wave next, as opposed to just opening the floodgates and let everybody go about their business?
So I appreciate the question and understand I'm just using logic to answer it, right? I don't have any insight in the circumstances. The time will drive that. But mind, these businesses that have been closed, it's going to take time for them to kind of back up, right? The restaurants don't have any food in them. It's going to take time to resupply, those kind of things. So I think the ramped up solution that you're talking about is really what we should expect. Now, how that rolls out and who become the critical players, something interesting in this event, and candidly, HCC has done it really, really well. We always talked about the National Incident Management System, or NIMS, and the way that works. And the beauty of it is that the right person for the event at the time is the boss, right? So if it's a police event, the police drive, and then it becomes a facilities event, facilities drives. Right now, our faculty and IT are the drivers, right? Because that's what's enabling our ability to do what we're doing right now with online learning and the like. As we move closer and closer to starting to release some of the stay-at-home orders and those kind of things, there's going to become other people that are really important. And it may be that supply chain folks, right? Getting stores restocked and getting restaurants up to speed so that they can open their doors for maybe limited guest seating, where you'll continue to social distance. You may have a restaurant that can seat 100, but they maybe only seat 25 or 30 or 40, right? But they can open for business and get their servers back to work. I'm not sure how that'll unfold. The county, the state, and every institution that I've looked at has tried to be as reasonable as they can be in the down procedures and understanding the needs of people. I can guarantee you that the opening up procedure will get just as much thought and will be staged very, very well so that we can do that smoothly. You're right. Throwing a switch and throwing the floodgates open, I don't think is the way to do it. It's something we should anticipate.
Chief Greg Cunningham joins us every Wednesday. Chief, thank you for your comments this morning and update on your operations. Stick around for the rest of the show. We'll probably throw a few questions your way.
Love to do it.
Brittany Pacheco, today is the day, April Fool's Day, but it's also April 1st.
Yeah, and just 27 days until my birthday, and it's going to be spent in quarantine.
The countdown. Well, hey, you get your birthday off, number one, this year, and you're getting that dream that you always wanted to work from home. Didn't we always dream of that? Now we're getting that.
No. What I'm dreaming about, Todd, is to be in the place that's right behind me. I told you all yesterday that I was going to be in a different location today, and this is the infamous Eiffel Tower in Paris, and it's probably my favorite city in the entire world, and it's just beautiful, and I miss it. So, what other places do you guys wish you were at if, we weren't in quarantine right now? So leave your comment down below just to have some fun and, break the monotony of all this information. But, today is April Fool's Day, but we're not laughing. We're not making jokes. It's a very serious day because we're going to talk a little bit about the census. Today is the day. Today is Census Day for 2020. And if you're like me, you would have gotten this little envelope or little postcard thing from the Census. Yeah, so it's really easy to go online and to just participate in Census. For me, I had like a little code that I needed to plug in to, just report on my household. It's very, very quick. It took maybe less than 5 minutes, truthfully. And it's 100% confidential, 100% anonymous. It doesn't matter if you are documented or undocumented. It is just critically important to participate and because it's going to affect our funding.
That's right. It affects our funding here being a college. It affects medical, funding for medical places, for hospitals and clinics. So we really need to get an official head count to get the proper funding sent out across this nation. So please do take part in the census. It is the law, but it's very easy to do. I did it this past weekend, went online, 2020census.gov. I don't know about you, Brittany. It took me about 5 minutes. I was done.
Same. It was a very fast process, and it's one and done. You don't have to think about it anymore. And even though I got this little reminder, I've already taken care of it. So go online today, as Todd just said. Go to 2020census.gov and participate. Take the census, as we have already illustrated. It's going to impact our funding, not just for HCC, but clinics and other organizations as well. So again, 2020census.gov.
That's right. So go to that website, check it out. Another thing we want you to do is comment below if you have a question in social media, something we can answer for you. Comment below. We'll direct message you, answer it online as well if need be. Brittany, what have you been seeing from our students that you can tell us what they're talking about today?
Well, today, Dr. Burillo got a shout out from one of our viewers. She said, "Thank you for your leadership during this dark time. #humanity first." So that was great. This same viewer also said, "Thank you to Dr. Nicotera for sharing the Coleman College masks for our police department." So that's great. And yes, we always want to give good information and the latest information out to students, faculty, and staff. But it's also good to just, be kind and to give that reassurance and positive feedback to all those involved behind the scenes. There is a lot that goes on, everyone, and people are working tirelessly to try to come up with the best policies and procedures to move forward with this semester. We've had a couple of financial aid questions, and our team is doing a really great job in directing our students to the financial aid page. And if you see down at the bottom, there's a little blurb that says "Stay informed. Visit hccs.edu/health-notice." And so if you go to that site, you can find plenty of information there about HCC's current status in regards to COVID-19, as well as student resources. So if you click on that link, students, you will see a plethora of information about HCC textbooks. I mentioned yesterday that there's free ebooks available until May 25th. So go online, go check out that page, go to the resources page and see what we have to offer.
Yes, the website once again is hccs.edu/health-notice. And you were given some shout outs earlier. The chief had mentioned that he wanted to give some shout outs to some of the folks who are keeping us operating at this time. Chief, I know you mentioned that earlier.
I appreciate that. So if I can add on just one thing to the direction Brittany was going, this compassionate thing is really a big deal. There are a lot of folks that may not have family in the area and those kind of things. Guys, remember, loneliness is a terrible thing. Make sure that you reach out to all the folks that you know. And when you're out on those walks, keep your 6 feet away, but it's really nice to greet one another and say hello. That human contact really makes a huge difference. There's a lot of folks that are really struggling with this new environment we're in. And you'd be amazed at how just a polite comment and a good morning or a good afternoon goes a long way to make these folks feel like at least somebody out there is paying attention to them and they're being seen by somebody. As far as folks that are doing awesome work, our first responders, the doctors, nurses, the paramedics, I can't enough. These people are tired. They've been running hard now for a long time. When you see them, please reach out to them, say hello, tell them how much you appreciate them. And if you happen to be a neighbor and you live next door to someone providing those kind of services, understand these guys are working 12, 13, 15-hour days. Maybe keep the volume of the TV a little lower so they can sleep, what maybe when you're up and about during the day. Just being a little courteous to those folks really matters. And from my perspective, I got to tell you, we were talking earlier about the NIMS and how people become important. Our facilities folks and our IT folks are just slamming it out of the ballpark. And I can't say enough about them. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to run into another group of folks that everybody doesn't see often, but we've got a whole group of professionals that are doing the decontamination. When we have a site that we think has been exposed, there's a team of folks that are coming in there and they're wearing the full PPE regalia and respirators that are going in and cleaning those sites for us, so that when it's time to come back, they're safe for all of us to use. I was working with a team of them yesterday, and I got to tell you what, these guys are rock stars. In that PPE for several hours, the dehydration, and just the difficulty that everything they do takes on with all of that gear. These guys are absolute stars of the show. I spent most of yesterday afternoon with them and was watching them do their work. You guys, I can assure you that they are doing an absolutely spectacular job making sure that our facilities are clean, they're virus-free, and when we open our doors, we are going to be ready to bring you in.
Chief, that is a wonderful way of ending the show. We really appreciate you being here again on Wednesdays. We look forward to having you here again next Wednesday as well. And I want to remind everyone, we have a show this afternoon at 1 p.m. We'll have Dr. Mary Lawson talking about food insecurity among our students, and it's very important. There's a lot of food insecurity going around right now that needs to be addressed. She's taken some interesting steps to do so. We'll talk to her about that. And we'll also be bringing you a perspective from one of our students, Francisco Flores. He has a report that's running on HCCTV through social media. We'll talk with him live today at 1 p.m. And don't forget, 4 p.m., there is a Houston Community College Board of Trustees board meeting that is happening at hccs.edu/livestream. A lot coming up this afternoon, but one way or another, we'll be back this afternoon and again tomorrow morning. Brittany, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Todd, and have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
That sounds good. We will see you again tomorrow and this afternoon on Up to the Minute. Have a great day.